The 6th BIMSTEC summit is all set to be held in Bangkok, Thailand. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be attending the summit, where he will be meeting various other leaders from India's neighborhood. Meanwhile, the circumstances amidst this summit are challenging. Myanmar and Thailand just endured a devastating earthquake. Myanmar is going through prolonged internal warfare, and tensions between India and Bangladesh threaten to cast a shadow over the entire meeting itself. So will Prime Minister Modi finally meet Bangladesh's interim head Mohammed Yunus? What agreements will be signed? What is BIMSTEC's purpose ultimately, and is it actually making an impact? This is Shubhangi Sharma and you're watching Fine Point. Let's dive in. Prime Minister Modi will be in Bangkok on the 4th of April, where he will be representing India at the BIMSTEC summit. BIMSTEC is short for Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. It has 7 member states, 5 from the Indian subcontinent and 2 from Southeast Asia. These include Bhutan, India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Bangladesh and Thailand. Now, key agreements to watch out for include the Maritime Transport Cooperation Agreement, set to boost trade and travel across the Bay of Bengal. Other than this, MOUs with the Indian Ocean Rim Association and the UNODC, or the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, are also in the pipeline and will unlock new partnerships, strengthening regional ties and security. Every region aspires to come together as a group of nations so that their trade connections deepen, cooperation and assistance in terms of security and technology are enhanced, and their voice on the global stage grows. Europe has the European Union for it. Southeast Asia has ASEAN. Africa has the African Union, and these are just to name a few. Their mandates may vary in size and scale, just as their outcomes do, but more often than not, they make a dent, and that makes groupings like BIMSTEC worth a shot. Let's look into the basics of this multilateral organization. The BIMSTEC countries have a combined population of 1.73 billion people and a GDP of $5.2 trillion. It was started in 1997. Back then, the group was smaller and was called BISTEC, BISTEC. BIST for Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka and Thailand, the founding members. Myanmar joined later that year, and the last time it expanded was in 2004 when Nepal and Bhutan became full members. The objectives of the BIMSTEC are to enhance trade and investments, cooperation in energy, transport, technology, counterterrorism, and so on. Notice that Pakistan is not a part of this group. Well, Pakistan had its chance at SAARC, the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, but tensions with India, which disapproves of its terror-wielding hand, have rendered SAARC a dud in the world of multilateral politics. BIMSTEC is often seen as a regional alternative to SAARC, but it is not limited to it, as it is also a bridge between the subcontinent and the larger Southeast Asian region. It's also where India's neighborhood first and Act East policies converge, forming an important component of its larger role in the Indo-Pacific. As the largest member of the bloc, India has a plethora of responsibilities and opportunities to drive prosperity in the region. New Delhi understands that very well, and that is why most of BIMSTEC's expenses are covered by India. Now, BIMSTEC has been envisioned to emulate the success of the ASEAN as an economic bloc and has tremendous potential. Historically, the Bay of Bengal was bustling with trade between India and Southeast Asia, bringing prosperity to kingdoms across the length and breadth of their contiguous coastline. However, the frequency of in-person meetings between heads and ministers is inconsistent, and breakthroughs in this group have been few and far between. You see, BIMSTEC sells you 2 main dreams: free trade and free movement. For 2 decades now, BIMSTEC nations have been negotiating on a free trade deal, but with little progress. However, when it comes to transport, things are moving. The India-Myanmar-Thailand Trilateral Highway is one such example. This is a road spanning 3,200 kilometers and connects Moreh in Manipur with Mysore in Thailand through Myanmar. Of course, the civil war in Myanmar has done no favors to this project. India, however, remains deeply invested and confident that a proper, uninterrupted land link between India's northeast and Thailand and further east is possible. It's the only way. In fact, 2027 is the estimated year of the project's completion. Now, another important project is the Kaladan Multimodal Transit Transport Project, which aims to connect Kolkata Port in India to Sitwe Port in Myanmar and then to Mizoram through land and inland water routes. There is also the motor vehicle agreement between India, Bhutan, Nepal and Bangladesh to allow for free flow of vehicles with minimum roadblocks. Talks are on to make the free movement of commercial vehicles in the entire BIMSTEC sub-region with just a single permit. While connectivity is key, India is also pushing for a preferential trade agreement, which could serve as a precursor to a future free trade agreement. It's also enhancing security and energy cooperation. The MOU for grid interconnections among member nations and the BIMSTEC Energy Center established in Bengaluru, India, are the stepping stones in that direction. India already has strong energy ties with Bhutan, Nepal, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka and can expand further east. Now let's address the elephant in the room, and that is Bangladesh. Dhaka, home to the BIMSTEC Secretariat, was actually one of the founding members of the grouping back in 1997. Sheikh Hasina had just risen to power as Prime Minister and was friendly towards India. She promoted her father, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's vision for a prosperous Bay of Bengal region, walking hand in hand with India. But look at the odds today. Instead of owning up to its place in BIMSTEC, the current leadership of Bangladesh is in disarray. Sheikh Hasina has been ousted. Mohammad Yunus, the chief advisor to the caretaker government, is busy cozying up to China. A particular statement by Yunus in Beijing, in fact, rubbed India the wrong way. He marketed Bangladesh as an attractive option to China, highlighting the landlocked nature of India's northeastern states and Bangladesh's supposed regional dominance in relation to them.
Eastern part of India, called Seven Sisters, they are landlocked country, landlocked region of India. They have no way to reach out to the ocean. We are the only guardian of the ocean.
The statement wasn't just flawed and problematic, but it had a menacing tone and revealed Yunus's posture towards India. Yunus has requested a meeting with Prime Minister Modi, but there's no reaction from India just yet, and chances are there will be no meeting altogether. There are clear tensions between India and this new unelected government that relies politically on the support of Islamist parties. It has fanned the flames of anti-India hatred and has been tarnished with widespread attacks on religious minorities. At best, we can expect a pull-aside, where the two leaders can exchange greetings briefly. That in itself would be a major breakthrough. All in all, BIMSTEC has tremendous potential to integrate the region, enhancing trade and connectivity and bringing prosperity to each nation, big and small. This is, however, hinged upon peace, trust and unity. BIMSTEC is not ineffective like SAARC, but it is also not as dynamic and impactful as ASEAN. Building upon its charter, if the bloc can formalize further, form legal frameworks, deepen security cooperation to boost trust, and meet annually to boost activity and progress, the future holds promise.